Hello everyone and welcome to Nether Expedition episode 17. My frames are being a bit funky today, I'm not really sure why, because I haven't really changed anything. But our main thing today is that we're going to start work on the Larry Memorial, I wish I could get the sentence out in one go, but apparently not. The Larry Memorial Arena. So we're going to be popping over into my test world to take a look at our current design for that. And let's see what else we can do. Well, I've got a few discussion topics lined up, I suppose. Firstly, we aren't in 1.3 at the moment. I'm mostly just waiting for Optifine to catch up on that. But more or less, we should be perfectly fine. So, the Nether has been modified in updates, but there isn't really anything particularly huge going on between 1.3 and 1.2.5 for the Nether. So the most concern is just getting Optifine going to... Apparently they've reduced the lag in the Nether, or at least made the Nether less laggy. Exactly what that means in regard to Nether Expedition, I don't know, so I'm waiting for Optifine. Because I figured that was probably a better idea. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I've come in a couple of times now and I've just found like drops everywhere and golems burning alive, and I keep closing this gate every time I leave. I don't know why that happens. It's been very strange. But, you may notice the place looks a little bit different, largely because I got some stuff done whilst I was filming intros and outros for the upcoming Kingslayer series, which is 5 episodes, I believe, including the epilogue. So you'll get to see that as well while I just worked on this. So that was fun. It meant you didn't have to see me grinding cobble. But our first thing to do when we're dealing with anything blaze related, now that we can, is to get some fire resistance potions. So I'm going to say make 6. Go. And shift clicking is enabled in brewing stands in 1.3, as I recently discovered, which is going to be awesome. Because we don't have anything of the sort just yet, and that's a bit annoying. Not a huge thing, just a bit annoying. Interesting fact, brewing stands will emit a block update whenever their graphic there changes, which changes in reaction to you putting bottles in or out of it. So that could be handy for something later on, I don't know. Just have like a counter for a piston, a bud switch behind it. Counting up to 3 and then counting down to 0 so it knows when you're all done. Okay, awkward potion. Believe this is right. It has been a while since I've been able to make potions. In fact, I don't think I've actually been able to make potions since I left Stormhaven. So before Green Sands, before episode 1. So yeah, it's been a while. Still kind of bummed that I can't make speed potions around here. Here we go, 3 minutes. I would make it 8, but we'd have a limited supply of redstone. I could make strength potions as well, but for that, I'm going to be relying on Walter. If we just hop on over to our... If we hop over to the storage area, where I've built a hideous, most likely temporary fountain, there's one other thing I've changed. There's one other recent change I've done, which is this fence gate and a lever. I don't know why I added the lever, I just did. But this fence gate will now allow Walter to actually pass beyond here when it's open, but only when it's open. So we can take Walter for a walk, and he can help us around the arena. So, come on you, off you go. Yeah, he can't walk onto this. I'm probably not going to be keeping this. I may have a fountain of some sorts around the arena, just for, like, decoration, but apparently fountains aren't my thing. I'm not particularly great at them. But let's see. Build 9 Golem vs. Blaze Arena by Shamion, who commented his submission there on the main Remember website, remembercomic.co.uk. Actually, I probably have a couple of things to talk about that. Liking, commenting, subscribing on the channel, all sorts. I don't mind if you don't do it. I don't particularly... I'm doing this for anyone that wants to watch it, so I'm not particularly fussed about getting, like, the big YouTubes and stuff. But, if you like the video, by all means, give it a like. That basically just helps people have some reasonable indicator that content is decent, and that they could maybe do watching it, i.e. don't decide to downvote this video on Reddit autonomically because it's a video. If you comment on a video, it also gives me a bit more motivation to do these stuff and make it actually look great. I kind of had to what's the phrase here? I kind of had to rush the Kingslayer episodes, so there's less editing and stuff on them because my hard drive was just getting so full. But if I have the motivation to do it, then there's no reason for me to rush anything. And subscribing to the channel. If you're enjoying the episodes, we recently had Izuma comment that he enjoyed episode 16, which is remarkable to me, because I don't really do much in the way of cool stuff around too much. Because I'm not sure Walter can walk underneath it. Alright, there we go. Walter shouldn't be affected by 1.3, so that's fun. Although I still wouldn't mind knowing what exactly it is about these pathfinders for the AIs that causes them to, just like jump at the edge of have a barrier that you can quite clearly pass. I don't know what that is. It might just be move upwards and not move diagonally forwards or something. I don't know. But yeah, if you're enjoying the series, then subscribe to the channel. It's kind of the logical thing at that point, because if you subscribe to the channel, you get, okay, YouTube's a bit finicky, but more or less immediate alerts that the videos have come out. Walter. If I go too far away from him, he kind of just gives... Oh look, we have our first customer. This is going to be some hands-on blaze farming. Me first, then. Oh, and down he goes. If they're not actually aggroed at you, then they just fly away. They just, like, drop to the ground. So he must have just been on the ledge. These guys are mostly spawning outside. So I'm kind of trusting on Walter to keep that part safe. You can stay there, you know. Yeah, staying there means not leaving the vicinity. Up. Nope. Bad, Walter. Bad. You know how they say don't work with, like, children and animals inside of, like, Hollywood? I think the Minecraft equivalent is don't work with pigs and golems. Okay, you see over here, with the big nasty spawner? I need you to come back up here and defend that. See, this is what I mean. He's right at the edge, he can clearly make it over, but he's not for some reason, and yet we just saw him walk up it. It's very strange. Okay, up here. Thank you. How's that doing? 1 minute 25. We're already halfway through. Okay, just give that some blocks. Keeps him from getting out. Now we don't need to fully contain this thing. In fact, we don't even really need to make sure it's 100% secure. We just need to make sure that I can control the spawning at a later date. And that is going to require a bit of a redstone input, but oh well. Actually, fun thing I recently discovered is that priests, priest villagers, in 1.3 they will be able to, well, their only buying object is gold, which we can farm. And one of the things that they can sell, potentially, is redstone, glowstone, ender eyes, and enchanting bottles, which aren't particularly useful for us. You're doing this to annoy me, aren't you? Look, there's, like, things galore over here to kill. I should probably take this fence down anyway. I don't really want him falling off, though, that's the thing. Yeah, that'll do. There, stay up here, and if anything spawns in here, murder it. In the face. Very helpful, but a bit derpy. Oh boy. And I'm on fire, because my potion ran out. There we go. That's why I keep 2 in the hotbar, just in case. Okay. It's a lot safer with potions, because the biggest harm from a blaze is the fact that it can set you on fire at a distance. If you're immune to fire and you can put up with these red swirls around your face, then you're pretty much golden. I'm gonna need some more netherrack, so speaking of the YouTubes, there's a few different styles that, thank you, there's a few different styles that Minecraft LPers can have come in. You hang around here, I'll get some more netherrack from our vast stores of it. There's a few different styles of Minecraft LPers that go around. There's the guys that do really cool redstone stuff, which I can do, I just don't really have the resources for around here. And there's the guys that do innovative stuff in the game, which I'll grant is more or less the reason that we're in the Nether at all. I just figured if I'm going to do any kind of Minecraft Let's Play, I should do it somewhat differently. Add something new to the genre, as it were. No one's really done the Nether, so here I am. And there are the guys that kind of use Minecraft as a backdrop for personal stories and whatnot. So I think Good is a particularly good example of that. So I kind of mix it up every now and then. I guess I've got a fair few talky episodes. I would be doing a lot of redstone instructional videos if I had the redstone for it, which we may do soon. Yay! Gold farm to buy some redstone. That'll be lovely. And then we can do some really cool stuff, because then we'll have basically everything renewable for making redstone stuff. So a recent story in my life is we got burgled recently. Some guys hopped over our garden fence and stole my parents' bikes. And I'm really still not entirely sure why. It's like the quote-unquote official, well, I was stoned for a second there. The quote-unquote official explanation by the police that we got was, that they were most likely drug addicts of some sort who were going to use the bikes as, capital, basically. I don't know if that flame's knockback is going to do anything to me. But that's definitely far enough to kill me. There we go. Ha ha ha. You can't knock me anyway now. We shouldn't actually need to do quite... What'd you know? It can knock me back. Or is that their left hook? I am not sure. Excuse me, I'll have a snack. But yeah, they hopped over the wall and they nicked my mum and dad's aging and tremendously underused bikes. My mum's actually learning to ride a motorbike at this point. Which is a horrifying... Whoop. Guess that wore off. Which is a horrifying notion. I mean... My mother is... well, I'll put it this way. I'm 22 years old. My mother isn't exactly young. Or at least not the kind of youth that you ascribe to, riding motorbikes. So that's a little disconcerting. Hello. But the bikes themselves are old and rusty, and they've been out in the garden for I don't know how long. Possibly, my dad stated that they may not have been used in like a year. But they're worth basically less than the metal that they're actually made of. So the question there is, why on earth would you steal that? And it wasn't really even a matter of there's like worse, like not anything better around, because we actually have like a roll of lead just lying around in our garden, and we actually also have a full like Tupperware box, like big box that you'd put like half your stuff in before you come back from university or something, full of like equipment for pulling beer and whatnot. It's like we had some expensive stuff out there, but for some reason they stole the absolute junk bikes. I mean, is that their way of being... Oh, he knocked my hat off. Yeah. Is that their way of, like, being kind? Is that the Robin Hood kind of thing? We only steal things that you don't need anyway? I don't know. But, yeah, that happened. So I spent some time yesterday trying to help my dad install a new 8-camera security system with motion detection and night vision and all sorts. So apparently I now live in the hood. The hood? The hood. I'm Northern, apparently. Kook book and whatnot. That's probably not something anyone gets if you're not from the UK. But yeah, that happened. I'm still not sure why they decided to steal from us, but they're apparently not particularly great criminals even in that regard. Because of all the things, they apparently ditched it. Not like 2 streets, they apparently ditched both of the bikes. And they didn't break in through any doors, so they had to have taken the bikes over the walls by hand and ran off with them. And they didn't really take them very far, like 2 streets or so away. So it just makes no sense on so many things. But they ditched them there, and then they got... my mum's was found. Yeah, they do still have a knockback. So I'm just going to pop that there. But they ditched them in, like, someone's gun, and my mum's was recovered. And I should mention that my former course at university was digital forensics, so I'm tremendously disappointed the guys that didn't secure the area and allowed the police to just pick up the bike, no problem. I'm almost out of potions. I'll go back and get some more at some point, I think. Which is good, because I'll let these guys despawn. No. But yeah, they picked that up, my mum got her bike back, like, within a day. Darlington police do not have much to worry about, generally speaking. Thank you. Darlington, as near as I'm concerned, is one of the safest places on the planet. So, I guess they don't have much to do, so they're focusing on this. But apparently, it's part of the drug trade. Apparently, the whole crime was part of Darlington's, like, drug business. And I wish I could say that Darlington had something interesting enough to warrant not taking drugs. But, hey, I've lived here for 22 years, so, not exactly that interesting anymore. Although I do love the trains. Okay, let's go get some more potions. I could probably do using this one a bit more. This thing's bursting the flame around me. There's a mob in the Aether called Zephyr, which gave Dave quite a bit of trouble with recently, which fries snowballs at you, just kind of as an irritation thing. Oh, we're almost out there, right, as well. And they just knock you around, which on the Aether is not a particularly fantastic thing to do, because it's basically a Skylands kind of place. This is what these guys are doing to me right now, is I am not in any trouble whatsoever from them, but if they knock me, I'm going to potentially fall to my doom. So, joy to that. Let's just head back now. No, don't follow me. But yeah, so now we've got a security camera running around. Well, more or less, my dad still has a few things to install. I don't really know exactly what he's ever going to see. In fact, the most action that the cameras have gotten thus far is that the plants we have in our backyard have been setting off the motion detectors. Although, as it turns out, we have a bit of a duff system, because, there is a hard drive inside of the machine. It's like 2 gigabytes. It'll take, well, basically a month's worth of footage. No problem. High quality. But the hard drive appears to be scuppered. Scuppered on arrival, so consequently it's not actually being able to record anything. But the motion detection is meant to be, if I see something moving, I will immediately start recording. But the hard drive's busted, so it would mostly have just been recording moving plants anyway. I didn't show this. I wish I had string. I could make dispensers once we get the priest with the redstone and whatnot. But this is about as complex, I imagine, as my potion setup is going to get anytime soon. There should be some effect to an awkward potion. I know. But yeah, that's happening. So I guess there's no sneaking in from the wild party late at night, as I so often do. But oh well, not that big a deal. It was just very interesting to see my dad climbing up a large wooden pole that holds a significant number of like power and phone lines, which I'm still unconvinced of the legalities of. In fact, we had a Socko come around. A Socko is a scene of crime officer, as I recall from my days at the university, and he popped around to get fingerprints and whatnot, if there were any, off of my mum's bike. Fair enough. Procedurally, you do that before the bike ever leaves the crime scene where it's found, but fair enough. I just need more Nether. And I was just, like, looking around at it now, looking around at what he was up to, I can recall quite happily why I was in a forensics course originally. I changed because the management was awful. It was so abysmal, there was no communication whatsoever. It was headed by one of the most arrogant men I've ever met. Free guesses where that arrogance came from. He was Greek, but free guesses where that arrogance came from. That's going to bug me. Yup. Bah. There we go. Doop, doop. We might go down to the base, actually. Because then we can build something upwards. And they'll have less of a fatal drop to whack us down to. And I'll just have that in my my hotbar. But on the note of technology, I just finished up watching the Iron Man Extremis motion comic, which is about an hour and a half long. And for those uninitiated to the comic book lore, Extremis is one of the Iron Man suits, which is basically nanomachines inside of Tony Stark's tremendously pampered, but then he's a superhero, isn't he? Iron Man's... actually, I've got 2 minutes of this. I'm just going to do this. Yahaha! This would ordinarily be fatal on so many different levels, but oh well. Just going to have my keys over that, though, just in case. But yeah, it's... still managed to nearly kill myself. He said, swimming through lava. But yeah, the Iron Man Extremis armor is basically nanomachines inside of Stark's body, which he can cause to come out of his skin on, like, neural command, and it allows him to make an Iron Man suit that does basically anything. Well, actually, not basically anything. That's bleeding edge. You may guess from this particular conversation that I'm a bit of a comic nerd, but it's basically the first step, or at least the first huge and noticeable step by which Tony Stark becomes transhuman. And transhuman is a very interesting little field of philosophy, research, I don't know, probably a bit both at this point. Yay, Walter. But it basically means what comes after the human being, and the most common like thing of that in media of most sorts is... Oh, hello. Go away, please. The most common form of that is cyborgs, because they've got human, like, brain and whatnot, but they have, like, a whole bunch of chips and add-on parts that let them do a whole bunch of cool stuff. Ghost in the Shell is one of a particularly good series about that, which kind of explores the potential ramifications of becoming more machine than human, whilst also having scantily clad women who can turn invisible and fight crime. Isn't anime fantastic? But yeah, that happens. And I guess I could call myself transhumanist in some respects. I mean, the day that they come up with a USB that I can plug into my arm, I'm going to be first in line to get it. I'm not particularly attached to my human... I'm attached to my human psychology, I guess, but I'm not particularly attached to my human body. Because the human body is very poor quality designing. That's not a word you should really use in this design. Veritable wimps with that, the ability to deal fire damage to you. So where are they coming from now? Probably still behind here. I keep thinking that's stone down here, but it can't be. Because we haven't had water until very recently. Okay, let me just get rid of this and water. And maybe go punch these guys. Whoop. Keep a better eye on my potions. Although I also have to be careful not to hit Walter, because if I punch him, he will ruin me. So badly. Let's see, get back from here. I am wary of your knockback. Creepy eyes. Because Walter also doesn't have target prioritizing. Which means he'll attack whatever he was last attacking as long as it's still alive. Which it may be for quite a while. But, yeah, it's an interesting field. I'm going to be very interested as it develops as I grow into an old man. Presumably with robots tending to my every whim anyway, as I grow feeble and senile. But then there's also a thing in the same concept called the singularity, which I believe was coined by Ray Kurzweil, famous science fiction writer. And that basically is the point at which our capacity to make better technologies exceeds the capacity at which our human brains can actually really work with them. More specifically, it's denoted by the point by which we make an artificial intelligence that can make artificial intelligences that are smarter than it. There's to say, an AI that can make a better AI. And at that point, it just becomes a rapid, hugely accelerated arms race, more or less. How much easier to kill these guys with some kind of bow. But alas, alas. Ooh, actually, I'm a bit hungry on that note. These guys are getting very loud. And I'm covering this up now just so I spawned right over there. And there goes my sword. Now I have to hit them with my axe. I don't have anything else. Yeah, I don't have to completely smother this, and I won't be for the full design, which I'll be showing you in a quick moment. Because I kind of don't want to reduce these spawn rates. And which one is it you're attacking? That one up there? There. How's that time going? Whoop. Time for another drink. I need to leave the area so that these guys despawn and Walter can handle the numbers. But that's fine. I need a new sword anyway. But yeah, it'll be that's called hard AI, where soft AI is it only really does what it's programmed to do, and even that's not particularly intelligent. That's basically what we have right now. Hard AI is one that can basically make itself smarter or make new AIs that are smarter than it. And that's a hugely important step inside of human technology, because at that point, technology advances at... I'd rather not give a speed here, because velocity can't really apply to a concept, but... at that point, it accelerates at light speed. Because because computers run a lot faster than humans do. And once they're making each other faster than we can make... faster than we can live a week, basically, then technology gets really stupidly advanced, more or less. And that's a really cool time to be alive, and I will hopefully be there, because the best estimates for that say it's going to take about 60 years, 60 years into the future. Let's get another axe while we're at it. Oh, screaming children, yay. So I'm I'm curious, what would my fans, my readers here, my viewers actually in this case, what kind of advancements would you get? Think Deus Ex, basically. I don't think I would get sunglasses stapled into my face. Maybe the fall from dramatic heights Icarus system that Jensen has in that. And most certainly, like, well, I wouldn't say the hacking, but most certainly the computer interface stuff. Like, there's a very simple form of it in Mass Effect, which is that basically every single, like, keyboard or screen inside of Mass Effect is holographic. Like, there isn't actually anything there. Mute, shift that out. Is holographic, and the way that they actually use them is that you have these little, like, magnetics inside of these little magnetic, just like neodymium magnets, I'm gonna say, or electromagnets, or something like that. And the computers put out this electromagnetic field that interacts with those little magnets, and lets that basically gives you force feedback, which is you push down a button, you feel the force of the button resisting you, and that lets you know how much more down you have to push and whatnot, and it lets you know where. Whoa! Holy hell! Thank you, Walter. I think we'll take the low road back, because for one thing, it'll take me ages to swim up with lava. Ho 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 ho. I have way too... The Icarus system would have been lovely then. I have way too many close calls with falling, don't I? What the hell? Okay. Taste my blade. No cream, of course. Haven't done the tiling down here just yet, because I haven't been down here very often, but I may have to if that keeps happening. Phew. On the bright side, we now know that that height isn't actually fatal. Of course, that's kind of a thing I wish I didn't know, because now I'm not going to be so worried about it. Where was I? Yes. But basically, it creates buttons out of thin air, is the gist of it. It gives you buttons that you can feel and touch, and like touch type and everything in midair. And like one of the... Hello? Oh, I took the fencing down, of course. You're fire resistance and you can't take falling damage like old golems, so yay! Right, now where do these guys turn up? Wow, what is happening to those children? It's summer, I guess I have to put up with that. Walter. And my potions are out. If you add a redstone to these, they last 8 minutes, which is fantastic and would be wonderful, but we have to wait till Optifine gets in gear for that. Okay, he spawned over there, that's fine, we can see that. Walter, I need you over here again. Right, that should be all of them. Over here! Right, just keep an eye on this. One thing I have learned from this recently, actually, is, I don't know if this is true of all spawners, but the blaze spawner, if it can't find anywhere to spawn anything, like if it's too bright or whatever, it doesn't actually stop its spawning attempt. Like, with most spawners you see, they'll spin really fast, and then they'll try to spawn something, fail, and then reset. But these don't seem to reset. It's like, if you have them in a bright light environment that's like redstone lamps, and then you turn off the redstone lamps, they immediately spawn something. Which is very interesting. It's not a behavior I've seen elsewhere. But that does mean that once this starts to not be accelerating as fast, we should be able to tell if there should be anything around here. And it doesn't look like it's going to manage it. So it looks like we've successfully conquered this. So, should I keep Walter around here? That's a question. Let's head back, I think. And I shall pop over into the test world. Yep. Come on. Really? You can't step over that? Well, I can't get rid of it, so you're gonna have to, I'm afraid. Right, just stay there then. So yeah, we're gonna hop over into the test world, and I'm going to show you the Nether inside of my test world, where we will be looking at the Larry Memorial Arena design that I currently have. It's not quite complete, but it should give you a reasonably good idea of what's going to happen. So, biddly-boo, 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 biddly-boo. And welcome back. I just want to get a quick cup of tea before I filmed this, which is lovely and going quite nicely on the road. Just down there is where I was testing to find out what the specific conditions for spawning ghast are. I may have tested that before. But here we have the current design for the Larry Memorial Arena. As we can see, we have some spectators. We've got Martin over here in the commentator's seat, which has been a bit of a pain because I've had to almost entirely enclose it with these iron bars. I may have to change the texture to make them a bit easier to look through. But that is because over here, under this one lever, we have the blaze. I believe I can spawn. Oh, or they can try and spawn. Peaceful doesn't actually stop anything from spawning, it just immediately removes it afterwards. So that happens. So the spawners still reset. Over here we have Walter playing the part of any distinct iron golem that I should seek to bring in here. And we have basically these little barriers, and those prevent the blaze and the golems from wandering out onto the arena before the match starts, basically. Little access over there. And I've got those hooked up to pistons currently, regular pistons, which is why they're gravel, because we can, once we have access to the priests and their redstone, we can pretty much make any number of regular pistons we want, although the sticky pistons are still going to be fairly limited. Okay, looks like we have our first guest. Yep, there he is. So he can't come over here until this is lowered, and the same with Walter over here. This bordering around the edge here is has an interesting story, because it's actually there because the golems seem to be kind of dicks. Because if they detect, like if they're out here in the arena and they detect a target in here, they will stand right at the edge where they cannot otherwise get in, and basically spawn camp. If I didn't have this barrier here, they would walk right in there. But since the golem's can only target one thing at a time, there's a chance that with that barrier that something will slip out and we'll actually get to see something. Okay, so this is basically just... I've gone through a lot of trouble to try and get this thing to perfectly entomb these guys whilst actually allowing them to spawn in reasonable numbers. And it's not really a design that you could really use for like a blaze grinder, because you'd need something to compact them down there. Which is another thing we'll get to do actually once we have some more redstone supplies available, which is redstonify the blaze grinder that we do have. And you can see that there's this open part at the front, and that's mostly so that I can just see from the commentator's box how this is spinning and if there's anything on its way down. And it's deep enough down there that this will just keep continually spitting them out. But to actually like prevent them from spawning from anywhere else, I've had to use up a lot of glowstone. I've just been going through, just finding where they've been spawning and just kind of adding glowstone and blocks, basically. But now they're actually limited only to in there, even though it can spawn like 3 of them at once. So pretty effective if you're only trying to get a lot of blaze into a singular area from a stationary blaze spawner. We have our different levels here for viewers, and they can't pass through these, so that's great. That means they can't escape into the crowd. Although I have seen 1 or 2 of them set the crowd alight. But over here, as well around this edge part here, is why I'm waiting predominantly for 1.3, because these are all upside down slabs. It's okay if things spawn on them, but it's going to be a tremendous pain if I have to put them all down by hand. Currently 1.2.5. We're using some of our iron over here. Hello, Martin. Yep, so there's this little commentator area for me and Martin to watch things unfold and just give WWE style like commentary, I guess. Quick drop here. which I'm probably going to have to do a bit differently here, because here I'm using an actual water source, whereas I'm going to have to use the deep springs to do that inside of the actual Nether Expedition world. I tried a lot of things for this pattern of the floor down here, and turns this looks. I like the way this looks. I like the way that the stairs lead to this sort of indentation, this highlighting around the edges. I kind of wish I could do it all the way around, but I can't because, well, we don't have those kind of stairs. But there we have it, and we have some lighting down here as well, so that things will still spawn here anyway, because it's Nether, but it makes it a bit easier to tell what's going on. And if I just turn this spawner off, and unleash Walter, I am planning on having a bit of redstone logic to this, so that it can only... Oh yeah, there. It can only actually release either of them if they're released at the same time, and if the back part here for loading of the golems is deactivated. Okay, and let's go watch this, shall we? Sort of a sneak preview, I suppose. So the blaze will just gradually wander out of their spawn point, the same with the golems normally, until they get far enough across to one side that they actually notice that there's a target on the other side. And here we have Walter zooming in. Whoop. And the golems kind of have to be pretty quick about killing these guys, because if they're too slow, then the blaze will fly up out of the arena, which is a little bit of a problem. But Walter, of course, is a bit of a hard hitter. And here we have, oh, another contestant. Ooh, but no, that didn't last long for him. And now we have two more, and now we have the problem that I've been trying to resolve for a while, which is that Walter can't get in there, but the blaze will still try to shoot at him, even though he's flame-proof. But basically, this will keep going until that guy finally manages to wander out and Walter kills him, and then he'll target this guy. But while that's happening, any number of blaze can just wander out of the actual spawn area, which is what that's meant to do, really. Because since they're learning to, it's exploiting the fact that Minecraft mobs tend to be single-minded about who they're attacking, that is. And my word, my throat is dry today. But yeah, that's the basic design. We've got floors. We only have the two floors at the moment. I kind of went for, originally, a kind of Roman gladiatorial arena style. But then I realized that you couldn't really see anything from here, and I like my designs to be functional even if they're frivolous, or even if they're just there for the fun of it. So we can actually see down onto the arena here, and if we go down another floor, we'll take the stairs for this, then we'll be able to see it down here as well. In fact, we'll be able to see it better down here, which makes sense because you're closer to the action. Yeah, we can get a pretty clear view of most of the arena down here. But in my original design, which was the gladiatorial arena, where it kind of fanned out like, I guess like the Colosseum, probably closer to say there's this big important like meeting place that was used for like democratic decisions inside of ancient Greece. I can't remember what it's called, but kind of like that. It's basically how it was originally, but I realized you couldn't see anything from the seats. So I went with a design that I would say is probably a lot closer to Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. So a bit of an odd little meeting, I guess, but there we have it. And the logic I'm going to have is that this cannot open unless, well, both of those gateways cannot open unless this is closed, which stops, in theory, more golems coming in. And there we go, he can't escape either way. Unless I do this. Enjoy. Okay, we could probably turn this off to peaceful again. I don't know if I'm going to get any of this done in the video today. In theory, this can go quite a lot higher. Just have that way out of the way. But it has to be at a reasonably, at more or less the same level as this box, because this box is built such that it is the exact, like being over in the corner here is the exact limit of a spawner being active. In fact, we can probably get a look at that. If I just move a little closer, there we go. If I move a little away, turns off. So we can put this up as high as we like, as long as we have the commentator box right next to it, and of course there's a limit to how high we can put it up before we start losing most of the view down here. Like, just to show you what's up with the iron bars now, actually. Got a little fence gate here. Getting Martin up here is a routine pain, but yeah, we can see most of the arena with pretty perfect clarity. Especially since I can't see through these kind of breaks in the edges here. But it took me a while to get a version of the commentator box working that actually prevented the blaze from seeing me, even if they were like directly underneath me. At which point they would start shooting fireballs and flying up into the sky, which was not useful, to say the least. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a connection to the iron golem farm that's in like our main base area, and that's going to be what we use to sort of switch things between holding them up for harvest or sending them along here for gladiatorial combat, as it were. I think down the back here we may have some kind of marketplace or stalls or stands for like the priests and blacksmiths and butchers and stuff, so that we can like sell them stuff and buy stuff from them, because that gives us a nice little central area from which to purchase our new materials. And I should really close this up before he wanders out into the lava, because I'll never find him again. Well, actually I might from his head, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that is the current design of the arena. In theory, I could come down here every now and then with like some strength and some fire resistance potions and have a go myself. But let me know what you think, and I shall probably call it an end there today. I've got another episode. Seems to be something I keep saying every now and then. I've got another episode of another expedition to film today, and you'll probably see that first. So it may have already gone up by the time you see this video. But we shall see, so I shall catch you next time. Bye! Look, looks like we have a friend. Biddy. Notice what my coordinate there is. +7, +37, 5. I'm on the bedrock.